Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Gas prices are on the rise throughout the southern tier in the wake of the Colonial Pipeline shutdown. Matt Kleindinst is in Corning tonight with a look at how that increase will impact area drivers.
Good evening, Scott. While driving around today, I saw gas prices range from $2.85 to $3.05, and as AAA tells me, that upward trend could be seen throughout western New York.
We are seeing gas prices at $3 a gallon.
Gas prices in the southern tier have steadily increased in the past week. According to AAA of Western New York, prices have gone up around 5 cents since last week. While prices were already increasing due to more people traveling, the recent cyber attack on the Colonial Pipeline has also contributed to that increase.
Thus far, we haven't seen it impact us in regards to shortages, but this $3 mark, the prices that we're seeing at a pumps, could indeed be a direct effect of the pipeline.
April Ingram of AAA says the price increases could force drivers to examine how much they're traveling.
It's at that $3 mark that, AAA has noticed that there's a trend that drivers start to monitor their driving habits, like how many trips they may take and find ways to conserve their fuel.
Ingram says gas prices normally stabilize the further we get into summer, but she adds it depends on how quickly the Colonial Pipeline opens up.
The longer the pipeline is out, the greater effect we'll feel at the pump prices. So hopefully the pipeline can be operational sooner rather than later.
Matt Kleindin's Big Fox, WYDC in Corning.
One hurdle down, one more to go. On Wednesday, the CDC will vote on whether to recommend Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine to kids 12 to 15 years old. That's after the FDA extended its emergency use authorization Monday. But as Britt Conway reports, pediatricians are already prepping to get shots into arms as soon as the CDC gives the green light. And doctors say there are preparations that parents can make too.
Ready? 1, 2, 3, stick.
Pfizer just got the FDA's stamp of approval to extend the emergency use authorization for its COVID-19 vaccine for kids 12 to 15 years old. The FDA calls it a significant step in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic.
It was a relatively straightforward decision. The response to the vaccine was excellent, and in fact, it was even better in the younger age group.
Now it's up to the CDC. A vaccine advisory committee will meet Wednesday to decide whether to recommend the vaccine for that age group. Because it's the same vaccine, it's already available in a number of places, and pediatricians are prepping to get the vaccine too, making sure they have a freezer that's cold enough, training staff, and figuring out record keeping. They're also talking to parents. Childhood vaccinations have plunged since the pandemic began, and doctors say parents need to make sure their kids are up to date on all of their vaccines, knowing COVID-19 vaccines could be available by Thursday.
Getting more of our population vaccinated is critical to moving forward and past this pandemic.
Some parents are hesitant. Others are ready, grateful.
Okay, all set.
I'm Britt Conway reporting.
The Way Center will host an event honoring local first responders this Sunday. That will be held at Oakwood Park in Elmira Heights. After a short worship service, first responders will get a small gift and a free lunch catered by BC Texas Hots. The Way Center says this event is meant to show their appreciation for first responders.
We believe here at the Way Center that they are vitally important to our community. We're very community minded, and so we just want to show our appreciation for them and honor for what they do in keeping us safe and taking care of us in times of distress.
The event is free and open to the public and will run from 10 a.m. to noon on Sunday. The Biden administration says 1 million people have signed up for health insurance on the federal government's exchange during a special enrollment period. A new sign-up period for plans covered under the Affordable Care Act, commonly known as Obamacare, were opened in February. Now, normally, only people experiencing life changes like divorce or job loss are allowed to sign up outside the annual open enrollment period. The Biden administration opened the special enrollment period in February as part of its response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The special enrollment period is open until August 15th on the federal exchange. Attorneys general across the country are calling on Facebook to abandon plans to create an Instagram version for kids, saying platforms like this do more harm than good. Wale Aleu has more.
I like the concept. I just wonder how they're going to monitor the content.
Well, I think that's a good idea. I really do.
Parents we talked to all had differing opinions on a kids-only Instagram, but AG Maura Healy has made up her mind along with 43 other attorneys general.
I think the studies show that social media can have really harmful effects on young people.
In a letter to Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg, the bipartisan coalition also shared their concern that Facebook has historically failed to protect children, citing that Facebook and Instagram had 20 million child sexual abuse images in 2020 alone.
Depression, anxiety, threats of self-harm. I mean, these are just some of the many things that are well documented in terms of the impact of social media on young people. It is a problem. It's something that we need to deal with. We need help from the social media platforms.
The letter also cites studies showing growing cyberbullying concerns on the platform.
I don't think we're going to live in a world where social media doesn't exist. So as a parent, as much as you can have it be tailored for, controlled, it's a better version than the Wild Wild West that exists today.
A Texas mother is calling for an end to gun violence. Her 6-year-old daughter was shot and killed during a Mother's Day event. Jafani Gray reports.
She took her last breath in my arms.
Here in this parking lot, Cassandra Mendoza held her daughter, 6-year-old Soraya Perez, as she died in her arms Sunday night.
Soraya! Soraya, come back, please, Mama!
Mendoza says she took her daughter to a car club gathering to have a good time. The event held near Southwest 24th Street and West Commerce. Police say an argument erupted. Bystanders caught the altercation on camera, where you see the car Soraya was in drive off as several individuals are hitting and kicking the red sedan. You hear gunshots. Soraya was hit while riding in the back seat of her car.
They took her from me. Why? She wasn't doing nothing wrong, enjoying herself.
San Antonio police later arrested 23-year-old Andrew Ray Elizondo, someone Mendoza knew.
I will never forgive Andrew. Never. He has kids of his own. How could he do this to my baby?
Those grieving coming together in the parking lot, Soraya took her last breath. Chief William McManus also offering comfort with an embrace. Family remembering Soraya as a loving little girl.
She always made you smile and laugh.
My baby had a big heart. She would love everybody, everybody.
As the investigation continues, Mendoza begs for the violence to stop.
Put guns down. Stop using them. Stop, please. They took my baby because of a gunshot. Stop using guns. Put them down, please.
A California police department is expanding the way it interacts with citizens, allowing people to file police reports via Zoom. Ashley Jacobs has more.
Zoom, it has been used for meetings in the workplace and to connect family and friends, but now Oceanside police are using the video conferencing service to fight crime.
We already take, telephone reports where people can come in to file cases if they like, but now we just started doing a Zoom.
Here's how it works. Anyone can head to the Oceanside Police Department's website and click File a Police Report. From there, you'll notice the familiar options to call or make a report in person. But this is new, Zoom appointments.
People who call actually get a one-on-one and can see the person that's taking the report, and that information can flow back and forth with you actually being able to see each other.
Tom Bussey says this is another step in the ongoing efforts to stay connected with the community, especially after the pandemic's isolation impact.
At least you get a personal connection with members of the community, which is really nice in this day and age with what's going on with this COVID.
He says maintaining connection with community members is equally important to both the department and Oceanside residents.
We want to be responsive to the community. They like to see, the department, if not in person, they can see them on the Zoom, on the screen, which builds that connection.
If the additional option for filing a non-emergency report is successful, who knows which department could launch it next.
I would hope that other agencies start to do the same thing, because I think it builds rapport with their community as well.
The Great White Way is going to continue looking more like the Great Empty Way for at least a few more months. Three of Broadway's biggest shows have now announced when they're reopening. Lion King, Hamilton, and Wicked will resume performances on September 14th. Show producers say the theaters will open at 100% capacity while still following guidelines set by the CDC and state authorities. Those include face coverings, health screenings, and enhanced cleaning and air filtration. Broadway has been dark during most of the pandemic, but last week, Governor Cuomo authorized performances to resume starting May 19th. Still ahead tonight, a North Dakota teacher is on administrative leave after having her students reenact the arrest of George Floyd.
Here, reenactment of the George Floyd situation. I'm sure they think about him pinned down on the ground, knee on the neck, and all this stuff for how many minutes. And we want to clarify that that was not the case.
What officials say the intent was, coming up.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Tonight's Big Fox forecast is brought to you by William Mattar. Good evening, everyone. I'm meteorologist Kim Walker with your weather update. Chilly conditions today as we were socked in with a lot of cloud cover in Elmira. It was about 4 degrees cooler than yesterday, 5 degrees cooler in Corning, and about 3 degrees cooler in Watkins Glen. For tonight, temperatures will be mainly in the 40s and then drop down into the 30s in the early morning hours on Wednesday. So it's going to be a cold start to your Wednesday. Not only that, we are expecting brisk north winds, and that's going to make things feel a little bit cooler. So temperature-wise, will be about 5 to 10 degrees cooler than normal. High pressure building in from the west will leave us with those north winds throughout the day. And again, we're stuck in between two systems, the high that's coming in and the low pressure system that's leaving our area. And so it is going to be pretty breezy off and on during the day. However, if you're going to be working outside, you're going to have to wear a jacket because it is going to be chilly. We don't have to deal with the rain though. 43 degrees at 7 o'clock, partly sunny skies, mostly sunny at 10 with a reading around 54. A little bit more cloud cover by 3 o'clock. Temperatures climb up to the 60s and then we drop back down into the 50s at 6 o'clock with a mostly sunny skies. So the ground may be a little bit wet for some of you as we did see a few showers today, but it's going to be dry not only for your Wednesday but for the end of the week as well. In fact, we are expecting a warming trend for your Thursday and Friday with highs back into the 60s, and it gets a little bit warmer this weekend out ahead of another storm system. Here's a look at your forecast. Tonight it will be cold. Elmira dropping down to around 38 degrees, 40 degrees for Corning, 37 in Perkinsville. Even though we're going to be below normal, about 10 degrees below normal tomorrow, at least it's going to feel a little bit better than today. But again, it is going to be breezy all day, making those temperatures feel just a little bit cooler. So you're going to need that jacket. 59 degrees in Corning, 60 degrees in Elmira, 57 in Bath, and 58 degrees in Hornell. We are expecting some sunshine by the afternoon. Highs by Thursday will be around 65 degrees, and on Friday there could be a few isolated showers moving through our area, but that really doesn't change our temperatures. In fact, I think we'll stay in the mid-60s through the end of the week, warming up to around 68 degrees on Sunday, and then another round of rain as we begin next week with a high around 67 on Monday. We are expecting the warming trend to continue into your Tuesday. Expect partly cloudy to mostly cloudy conditions with highs in the upper 60s and lower 70s.
A North Dakota public school teacher is on administrative leave after she had her students reenact the arrest of George Floyd. George Gonzalez has the story.
The issue at hand deals with a 5th grade teacher, Mrs. Barb Michelson. She's a veteran teacher. She's like everybody's grandma.
Michelson, who had students in her class reenact the arrest of George Floyd, has been placed on administrative leave since last week as officials look further into the situation. School officials did not take questions during a press conference.
When people hear reenactment of the George Floyd situation. I'm sure they think about him pinned down on the ground, knee on the neck, and all this stuff for how many minutes. And we want to clarify that that was not the case. Now, did an event happen in the classroom? Yes.
According to school investigators, the demonstration was to show how the position could affect students' breathing.
We do know that students did have their hands behind their back, they were on the floor, and it was being used as a teachable moment of how wrong this is, and we don't want to put anybody in that position. Students said that they were asked to then stand up and check their pulse. From there, the activity concluded.
Jacobson says the situation could have been handled differently and changes will come.
We as a district have to figure out what can we do to take on those type of tough questions moving forward, because it was one of those things that was caught up in the moment, but it could have been a teachable moment if we had it done in maybe a different manner.
We're going to provide both staff and students with tools that encourage understanding, which will build our community in a meaningful way by focusing on these steps. We're going to analyze factors that influence, but are not limited to, hiring practices, professional development, teaching and learning, and behavioral discipline.
It's the most common form of cancer in the U.S., but skin cancers can be prevented. Most types of cancers of the skin are caused by too much exposure to ultraviolet light, but protecting yourself from the sun can help. Mandy Gaither has some sunscreen tips in today's Health Minute.
Heading to the beach this summer, the pool, or just itching to go outside? Don't forget that sun protection.
Whether it happens to be sunscreens, UPF clothing, shades, sunglasses, all of these products are going to help you protect yourself from the ultraviolet rays and from the damage that UV rays can do to your skin.
Dr. Susan Masick, a dermatologist at Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center, says when it comes to sunscreen or sunblock, you want a higher SPF. But she says once you get to 50, they're fairly equivalent, and people tend to not put on enough. Use 1 to 2 ounces to cover your body.
You want to go ahead and apply about 20 minutes before you head outdoors. You want to reapply every 2 to 3 hours.
And while spray sunscreens are convenient, there are downsides. Dr. Masick says there's a danger of breathing in the spray's aerosols, and
they may not be a full coverage. So you want to make sure even if you spray the sunscreen that you still rub it into the skin.
If you're concerned about chemicals in sunscreen, sunblock is another option,
which are the natural ingredients, including titanium dioxide and zinc oxide. These are considered the mineral ingredients. These are physical blockers, so they basically reflect the sun rays off of the skin.
Whatever sun protection is right for you, Dr. Masick says it's important to like it so you'll be more likely to use it. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
An elementary school in Minnesota has a proud tradition of transitioning little ones to fly on their own, feathered and non-feathered alike. Recently, a mama duck and her ducklings paraded down the hallway, out the door, and into a pond behind the school. Boyd Hubert has the story.
Should I show you how to cut it?
The kindergartners.
That looks perfect.
In Betty Johnson's room at Eisenhower Elementary.
A butterfly.
Know what it's like.
I love it.
To be the new kids. Maybe that's why they're so fond of this in-school field trip.
To look at the mama duck and the babies.
A mallard mom who dropped into their courtyard and hatched her latest brood.
How many babies do we have this year?
10 baby ducks.
10 ducklings with a doting uncle.
As soon as they're born, I'm like, okay, everyone stay away, everyone be careful, everyone look out.
Jeff Shepard has been keeping an eye on this.
I'll be right back.
For years.
I'm right here in the media center, so I have the really great windows.
A birthing tradition that started 2 decades ago when the first mama duck flew into the school's closed courtyard to lay her eggs, then hadn't a way to get her flightless ducklings back out.
These are 5th graders, and they're all engrossed in it as well.
Till someone thought of this door that leads to this hallway, that leads to this pond behind the school.
So much fun to watch her walk down the hallway.
A tradition that's continued one generation of ducks to the next.
Knock, knock.
A tradition now recounted in this newly released children's book.
But Mama, we haven't learned to fly yet. How will we leave? The same way I did when I was your age.
Written and illustrated by Eisenhower parents, Brad and Lori Gilmore.
Ducks in a row, here we go.
There's really a metaphor for what the school is doing to prepare the kids for where they're going next.
Where are we going, Mama? Cried all the ducklings at once. Junior high.
Art, imitating life.
Say goodbye to the ducks.
And a duck.
She's circling, she's ready to go.
Imitating what her mother did.
Come on, Mama.
And her mother
You know the way.
before that.
Oh, good job, Mama.
In a few weeks, Eisenhower's sixth graders
They're so cute.
will also make their last walk through these doors.
Oh my gosh. Let's go, Mama.
Teachers and parents will mark the passage. Even breathe a sigh of relief
Bye, Mama.
as walls become doors
We did it.
and young ones find new worlds to explore.
And there they go.
If you've been looking to get your hands on a new PlayStation 5, well, good luck. A Sony executive reportedly told analysts that the new console will be in short supply for the rest of the year. The PS5 has been difficult to find since its release in November because of supply chain constraints. Nearly 8 million units have been sold through March. Sony is aiming to sell nearly 15 million in the current fiscal year. The home of a legendary monster is offering free vaccinations for anyone brave enough to visit. Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
For over 100 years, folks have feared the mythical blood-sucking legend of Dracula, but now, for once, he wants to help your blood. Romania's Bran Castle, known as Dracula's Castle, is offering free COVID-19 jabs to visitors as part of a vaccination drive. The castle, which resembles the home of the infamous vampire in Bram Stoker's 1897 novel, has become a popular tourist destination in Transylvania. Anyone who dares visit the castle on weekends in May will be able to get a free vaccination. Look, everyone knows Dracula sucks, but COVID-19 sucks more. And with the stakes this high, it's nice that organizers are willing to stick their necks out for the common good. From shape-shifting vampire vaccinations to shape-shifting pasta, scientists have created a flat pasta that can morph into shapes when cooked. It's an effort led by the Morphing Matter Lab at Carnegie Mellon University in Pennsylvania. So, how do they do it? They start with flat pasta dough and impress tiny grooves using a stamp. The grooves cause the pasta to morph into tubes, spirals, twists, and waves when cooked. Okay then, so why do they do it? The team says the shape-shifting design is all about conservation. Flat packing pasta could reduce packaging and save space in storage and transportation. The team says they were inspired by space-saving flat-packed furniture. Now that's using the old noodle. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
We want to leave you with a smile tonight. What pioneering American woman would you like to see featured on a U.S. quarter? The National Women's History Museum wants to know your ideas for the new American Women Quarters program. There is one limitation: the person you pick must be deceased. So far, poet Maya Angelou and astronaut Sally Ride have earned the honor. Coins with their likenesses will be out next year. Their faces will be on one side of the quarters, with First President George Washington on the other. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.